Test. Listening. Listen to a student called Tonya Wilson talking to her class about a marine conservation project that changed her outlook on life. Complete the sentences, 1 to 10, with a word or short phrase.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tanya, and I want to talk about an amazing month I spent monitoring wildlife on a marine conservation project in Tanzania. I chose to go partly because it was an option on my degree course in biology, but more importantly, I felt I was playing it safe in life. I wanted a challenge. The idea of exploring the underwater world was perfect, and luckily, I could dive already. The project was based on an island in the Indian Ocean. Its focus was collecting information to change people's ideas of how human behavior can affect the natural environment. I was interested in running awareness-raising activities for visitors to the area because I wanted them to realize that overfishing by local people to provide food for restaurants or collecting shells to sell to visitors is potentially damaging the island's delicate ecostructure. Getting there involved a long flight and a ferry crossing. It finished with a bus ride to the camp, which felt longer than it was. I found the sea journey particularly unpleasant, even though I couldn't wait to get there because I'd heard the island described as perfect. I expected it to give me a new outlook on life. Arriving at the camp was a bit of a shock. I knew everything would be basic, but there was no house, cabin, or even a tent. All the volunteers had to sleep in a communal hut made from wood and mud. It was fine, though, because living closely together created a bond that added to the fun. One thing I was totally unprepared for, however, was what was loosely called the shower, which was actually just a bucket of water that we poured over ourselves. That wasn't really a problem because it was so hot, and we could always go to the beach and swim. We took turns at making food and tidying the camp. There was just a charcoal stove to cook on, which was great because I'd never been interested in cooking before, and this challenged my creativity. It certainly made me appreciate home-cooked meals. We'd been told to bring any luxuries we couldn't do without. Many had cookies or coffee, and several had peanut butter, which they shared with everyone. That was great. I chose chocolate, and I regretted it because it melted very quickly. The work varied a lot. I had to map the diversity of the area and marine habitats and record any sightings of whale sharks. I had to identify those first, as I'd never seen them before. I learned new research skills and scientific techniques, including taking counts of marine life, such as seahorses, which I thought looked rather weird. I also wrote reports on the effects of global warming on marine communities so that scientists could assess the health of the reef. I don't think anyone can dive to the bottom of the ocean without seeing things differently afterwards. I saw an extraordinary variety of animals, including turtles and spiny urchins, and one day even an octopus. I'd been a bit nervous about meeting one of those, but in fact, it moved so gracefully, I was fascinated. When we were sailing to distant dive sites, we often had dolphins alongside, which I loved. I dived with some of them, which was a life-changing experience. The reef really made a lasting impression on me. The color of the coral was incredible, and I'll never forget it. Other divers used words like awe-inspiring and stunning, but for me, it was magical. I'm proud to have had the opportunity to dive there, but I'm also worried having seen the damage climate change does. So, did I get a new perspective on life? Absolutely. I've also made new friends and got hundreds of stunning photos and memories. But my priorities have changed. I now know what's important, and preserving that beauty under the sea has become my undying passion. I'll never look at things in the same way again.